Hello everybody, I'm Gavin and I am the British Book Worm, and this is my British Bookcraft bookworm video. So the idea of this video is I'm going to showcase all the things that I've learnt over months and years of reading bushcraft books and implement the things that I've learned out in the woods from the bushcraft books that I love to read. And rather than sitting at home in the comfort of my own house or in the comfort of my own bed, I'm going to go out into the woods and try to practice and implement some of the things that I have learned from the bushcraft books, but also the bushcraft videos that I watch for hours and hours and hours. So this is the idea of my video that you're watching today. So welcome to the bushcraft video, and I am Gavin. Today I've got a massive addition to my kit, which I'm a bit unsure about. It's cost me a fortune. So basically I'm going to probably show you that sometime soon. So let's crack on. I'm going to walk today. I'm not going to using a taxi. I'm walking 4 miles to my camping location. So cut. Hello everybody, so today I am on Bushcraft 003. So the goal of this video and the previous videos, and hopefully the continuing videos, is to show you at home how much can be learned from reading books and being a passionate learner. Now, I do have experience in the woods, so I'm not a complete beginner, but I am far from an expert. A million miles away from an expert, so please remember that. So I've walked 4 miles to the same location as Bushcraft 001 and Bushcraft 002, purely because the objective for me at the moment is to acclimatise myself psychologically to being completely on my own in the woods. Hence me not being an expert, with a desire in the future to become maybe a very experienced woodsman, because there's nothing as nice as having a traditional skill. Today I've used my third leg, which I've had at home, much to the demise of my girlfriend, so I've finally made use of it. The third leg is just basically a fairly tall, long stick that you use for walking, which gives you much more stability. And in a survival situation, every person should grab a third leg or a walking stick so that you don't break your ankle or trip up or injure yourself more severely, further worsening your survival situation, which is in the survival book here. Now, today I'm trying a new rucksack which has cost me £262. It's a Kit Pimp Pathfinder Military Bergen. Now, like a lot of you out there, I've spent months researching rucksacks and tents. I've gone with this rucksack. I've just ended up taking a risk, not a bargain, I wish it was a bargain. I'm sure you can buy them second hand much cheaper than this brand new one. I've walked 4 miles today. It's very heavy and it's substantially massive. It's supposedly 150 litres, and previous to this video, the Bushcraft 001 and Bushcraft 002, I felt that it was very irritating having to attach everything on the outside, you know, like the sleeping bag and the camping tent, sorry, the camping chair. So I've gone with a massive, ultra massive bag. At the moment, I'm 50-50 with it. I'll keep you updated on that. But tonight, or today, I'm going to basically carry on with some survival skills. I'm not going to do much talking, so the video doesn't end up being too long. But I'm going to basically do some hopefully show you some skills that I've learned through numerous books, which I'm going to highlight at the end of this video. So hopefully, you, my viewer, if you are a viewer, will enjoy being with me in this experience and help me learn as you are learning with me. Let's crack on with it, shall we, everybody? Right, so I know I said I'm going to keep the chat down, but I'm still going to have to talk a little bit. So what I want to do today is highlight the straw I have and to collect some water from a resource I've gone past a few minutes away from where I'm going to camp. Now, today I've walked 4 miles, and when you read survival books, one of the good things that the good ones teach you is your priorities change depending on your situation. So today, because I've been very active, which is nothing compared to a real scenario at all, but I've done 4 miles with about 30 kilograms on my back, something like that, although I'm not entirely sure my bag's weight is something heavy, fairly heavy. I need to secure a water source quickly, and so I'm going down to where I've come from to grab a water source, which is just basically a little pool where the water has come from uphill, so I'm pretty confident it's safe. So my second bit of new kit today is a fleece liner from Snug Pack. So I'm going to try that instead of the onesie I wore, as well as the underquilt for my hammock. So that's something I'm going to look forward to when I go to bed tonight. Loving it. So just dipped my hand in my pocket and found that from my jacket. I don't think that's going to be on the menu tonight. My girlfriend's orders from last time went out to Boost for some food for dinner, or tea. I don't think that's going to be on the menu tonight somehow. It's just pot noodles tonight, I'm afraid. Or noodles. Right, I'm sorted. I've got my shelter a bit tighter tonight because it's a bit windier. I've really pegged it in. I've used my trucker's hitch again and my flying bowling or floating bowling. Let's have a look at it. So I've dropped the hammock deliberately so there's not as much wind travelling underneath, and I've got it tighter, the ground sheet a bit tighter down to the hammock to keep the heating a bit better, and I've also changed the angle of the tarp so that the wind is hitting the side of it as opposed to more likely coming through as it was last time. So I'm in a better place and a better position tonight. You can see the wind is actually blowing on the tarp by the angle of the tarp. I might have to hitch it out a bit with a bit of cordage to give me some more room inside. Right guys, one of the main things that I'm doing these videos for is partly to show people how much you can learn through reading books. So I'm going to have to start setting some actual objectives that are a bit more clearly defined, say, than to just come up with stuff on the spot. So I'm going over now to get a reasonable sized piece of wood to create a mallet or a maul or a hammer over here. So that's my plan. It's just over the corner, so last time I was here, but I ran out of time before I could use it. Need to come through this bit of wood here. Not one that I've done much research on in here. A particular branch I want to get to, just up here. But I do want to sort of stay a bit quiet. That's going to be perfect. That might be for a project tomorrow morning, hopefully. So I'm going to just take some time out now. One of the things I've realised is that when you're videoing for a video, it makes you rush things a bit because you're trying to get a narrative or a message or do a good video. The last couple of videos I was trying to rush a little bit, and I felt like a bit more rushed to try and get some video footage of certain things. And that got me thinking. Now I know it might not sound so profound to you watching this. It might sound really obvious. If someone was saying it to me on a YouTube video or on any video, it would be very obvious. And as someone who spent many years meditating and doing martial arts, obviously this is a huge element to the philosophy of those disciplines. But when you're out here, there's a completely different speed, and books can never get that across, videos can never get that across. And you learn that there's a speed which is like extra slow that you must work within. That is the nature of life and the nature of the natural world. So when you're putting your ropes on and you're doing your tarp, we've got that human side where we want to get things done. You know, the McDonald's instant drive-by shooting, I was going to say, I don't know why. Drive-by food, running to get your Costa, quick food all the time. We're constantly rushing, trying to get our dinner in. Out here, there is no time. Time is the sunset and the sunrise. So hopefully that comes across, that I've got you a decent kind of a deep philosophical thought across to you. Everything must be done less than half speed. We need to slow down, and I'm really going to try to bring that into my own life. Out here there is a speed to which is millenniums, centuries and centuries and centuries slow. Things just happen, they just evolve. The nature of it is what it is, and we must slow down to be at one with nature. We've got to slow down a bit, and I think that is something to be said in our modern lives, 100%. Do you agree? I'm pretty sure you do. Right, I've been really busy building the fire. Because it's windy today, I want to build a fire that's slightly down. I'm going to show you the SAS Lofty Wiseman chapter or exhibit from my British Book Worm study. So that's the key thing. If the weather is quite windy, and it is tonight quite windy, in here it's not, but it's just a practice. I've dug my fire pit into the ground and I've missed that out, I'm afraid, but it's taken me about 40 minutes, so quite a lot of effort, which I'll show you in a second. Now what I'm going to do is collect wood, because the light's going out, and while there's no hurry, I want to get the fire going before it gets dark. It's like a security thing. I always like having a fire going before it's dark when I'm out camping, but realistically, you know, in reality, you're not going to have all them choices or choices like that in a real scenario. Another point from a book: when you're collecting firewood, right, there's a couple of things from Dan Warwick's book. Try and collect the wood that's hanging from branches that's dead, like that. That's perfect. It's going to ignite, it's going to be dry and really easy to get going. So that's a really good tip from most books, but Dan Warwick's book teaches that if it snaps makes a good snapping noise, then it's good wood. So that's a good tip. So I've built a fire underneath the ground, down slightly today. This is in Lofty Wiseman's SAS Survival. If you have a wind and it's very windy, build the fire slightly in a small depression so that you can get the fire started a bit better, but also it will use less wood with the wind blowing over it rather than blowing into the embers and burning the wood a lot faster. I put a little heat deflector with the metal sheet that you've seen a couple of times in these videos, and I put this rock at the back just as a bit of a heat deflector. So that's going to be the fire for tonight. As you can see, I've got gloves today. I'm not cutting my finger again like I vowed. Never cutting my finger again. So I'm using gloves today. You should always wear gloves, to be fair to people who say that you should always wear gloves, Gavin. You should always wear gloves, because you can cut your hand on some glass that someone's dropped when you're collecting wood, or scraping your hand through the floor. It's just stupid to not wear them, to be honest. Obviously, in a real survival situation, you might not have that choice, but you wouldn't have that choice unless you've got your kit with you, or some kit with you, would you? So you'd have to be very careful. Certain grasses and in certain woods like thorn bushes and stuff, but we're getting there. It's a bit rough, but I'm in a rush. I want to get this fire started. That's my base layer. I'm going to get a backstop and get the fire going with my tinder box, which I gave with my tinder box, which I used in Bushcraft 002. Try and get it out while I've got one arm on the camera. So this is the kind of thing I want to get across. You can learn. I'm hoping to use this. This is from Dave Canterbury, and in his books, I'm going to put just one here, but just put one of his books here to show you. But I'm going to use this to hopefully get a fire going with a spark of a ferrocerium rod. So that's the plan on some fern. That's my plan tonight, and some birch, which we'll see what happens. Right guys, I'll tell you what, I've had a change of plan, because obviously I found some fat wood, but for some reason this forest just doesn't seem to have any good fat wood in. Like, I've got one little bit, tiny amount, And I've got a little bit of char from punkwood, but what I'm going to do, going back to the idea of this channel and using books and learning from books to do stuff, I'm going to try and use that to ignite what essentially is like an emergency bit of kit. If I can find them. Oh. Right, so I don't know, I've got lost a bit there. I've got my lighter, which would be my primary source of a quick fire. I've got my exceptionally good ferrocerium rod. But what I was trying to say then, before I kind of got cut off, is from Dan Warwick's Bushcraft Kid, I have created these fire starter cotton balls. I want to try for the very first time these when I've used them, never used them before, and I did it maybe I don't know, a year ago. I did these, so they've been sealed for potentially up to a year. So I want to try these. These are for an emergency fire that's in Dan Warwick's book, which I'll put in here, a link, or I put a page here for you to look at. So that's what I'm going to try and use to get this fire going. It should be easy, really, to be honest with you. But I'm going to try and use my punkwood on one of these. They're basically cotton buds with Vaseline on. And if I can't use that, ferrocerium rod on the punkwood, and then on this, or even the ferrocerium rod on these. So I don't think that'll work though. From my experience, it needs an open flame to get these going. And then I'm just going to see. Let's just do it. Quick teaching point. Obviously, I've sealed these up to keep them a bit more airtight, to keep the condition in them better. But if you were in a survival situation with really cold hands and it was raining hard, and you're having to mess about like I am now, getting in this, there's a good chance you're going to get killed. There's a good chance you're going to die. So this is the reality of stuff that these survival books don't get across. If I was effing about like this now, like I am now, trying to get in this, and it was pissing it down with rain, maybe some other people around me that are desperate to get a fire, get warm, maybe having hypothermia, this is not what you want. So when you set your kit up, you really need to get it set up so it's easily accessible with hands that don't work very well, because you don't want to have to get your knife and risk cutting your knife, cutting yourself, having to go through all this just to get into it when your life might be at risk. And so that's just a quick teaching point from real life experience, from a real experience that I'm having right now. So just bear that in mind when you put your emergency fire kit together, that it's easy accessible. I have always got some really easy fire stuff going on when I go out. I'm always prepared to get a fire going because of how much I've read on it. But this is just a really valuable teaching point. If you have an emergency fire in a box and it's sealed, make sure it's easy to get into, because you really don't want to be doing this if your life is on the edge between flame or dying of cold. And look at that. How easy does that look? And it's gone out. This is what I mean about practicing stuff, guys. Because I know that I can light this fern easily with this lighter, but I'm just showing you, this stuff doesn't work straight away. You've got to really make sure you've got to practice this stuff. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work, guys. You've got to learn it by practicing it. As much as I say learn by reading, you've got to do it. You've got to go out and do it, because there's so many little problems that can happen when you're doing it. But a bit of practice, Dan Warwick's fire starter cotton balls have done the job. On sugar. Right, let's go. So I said. Oh, you're joking. It's gone out. So I'm showing you as it is. This is now like what? Take 4. It's not working as well as I thought. Let's get it going. This time I got to get it going. Alright. So this time it's got to work. This time. Look. So even though it looks good idea, you're going to have to get it going much better than I am. Although I've done something wrong in the process of making it. I know I can get this stuff going anyway. But you just got to understand, guys, it doesn't just happen. Practice, man, practice. Otherwise we're not going to get a fire tonight, are we? And just like that, guys, it's gonna go. Oh my gosh. I don't know, Matt, guys, ladies and gentlemen, that took a long time. I don't think I've actually screwed around with lighting a fire for a long time. I usually get it going a lot faster than that when I'm not doing a video. So those balls are brilliant by Dan Warwick's, in Dan Warwick's books. I don't know if Dan made them, created the idea. But you do have to be careful how you put too much Vaseline on them, I think. and you've got to pull them apart, I think, as also to make them catch the flame a lot better. So trying to light them in a bowl squashed is not like all tinder starters, fire starters, or fire, what's the word I'm looking for. You've got to pull them apart. I know it's obvious, but like I said, you know, you make those mistakes when you're on the go, and I should have just pulled them apart, get the finer bits to go, and then would have probably gone up a lot better. So I've learned something. I hope you've learned something. Usually when you're trying to start a fire and you're struggling, or it's not keeping going like that, you've got to pull them apart, or whatever you're using as tinder, you've got to pull it apart like more, so that there's a thinner surface for the fire to get going on. So that's the mistake I made there. A bag of Coke. I'm gonna enjoy the night tonight. A big bag of Coke. Well, my first bushcraft bread didn't come out too well, guys. But it tastes good. But wow, I need to watch that Dan Warwick's video again. I'm eating it, but it's not. It's like toast. Nope. So burnt to a crisp, and it tastes like wood. But I'm going to eat it, even if that makes me sick. I don't know what I did wrong. I didn't get the right consistency. Anyway, I'm eating it. Fuck it. I don't really have much to say on this video now. I'm coming to the end of the night. I'm going to have a little walk around in this wood, which feels really familiar to me now. It's not big and scary, but I am going to progress into going into bigger woods, which are more intimidating than this, but I feel much more kind of at peace with it than I've done before. I mean, obviously I've run in the woods, or I've run in the pitch black fog in the middle of the countryside, but being in it on your own is, and like being in nature on your own is intimidating, regardless of who you are. And I've seen some guys talk about it who are seasoned veterans of the woods. So my advice is to you is do what I'm doing, which is basically just do a little bit at a time. So you've got people running up Pendle Hill tonight. I used to run that every Sunday religiously, 5 times. Up and down, up and down, up and down. When I was supremely fit, I used to run it, and people were blown away who were walking it when I used to run up and down past them. 12 minutes up, 8 minutes down. I used to do it every Sunday when I was super fit. Still proud of that achievement. So I'm having a ration pack for my dinner. I've tried that bread, it was alright. I can make a much nicer. It's going to be delicious next time I do that. So I've boiled that down, watered down, and I've got that to eat now. And that's going to be me tucking in for the rest of the night and just feeding this fire. I don't know if I'm going to keep it going all night. I'm going to have a hot chocolate after this. Then I'm going to just charge my phone up and read in the hammock. And I'm going to try and get a long night's sleep. Do a lot of reading in the hammock. That's the plan for today. My batteries might be running out. I'm hoping my charge is going to be fantastic and keep charging it up tomorrow, for tomorrow, and for watching some videos of tonight. But that is going to be pretty much it for the videos tonight, I think. Now, thanks for watching, by the way. Right there everybody, so I hope you're enjoying this video of whatever it is going to come out at or like. I'm having a wonderful time. I've got into the hammock 3 or 4 times. I had to get out for a wee. I tried some water procurement trick, which I'll show you in the morning, but it stopped. It didn't rain, and it wasn't situated in the best place under the trees, even though it was raining on the top. I thought I'd just try it, something to do, because I fancied having some rainwater in the morning. It's a lovely night. It's a beautiful night actually, and I'm extremely at peace. And you know, sitting in front of the fire, it makes me feel very happy, very blissful, but also very deep. And I know that YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and those kind of mediums, if you like, of information exchange aren't suitable for deep things, really. People want to come on for fun, which I totally get, because that's what I do, but they don't wish to think deeply, which is part of the reason why I thought I'd try a bookworm channel, where I'm a little bit deeper, breaking down more serious books on different issues. I think I could get a lot better at it, to be fair. I'm not too happy with some of the rewatching the book reviews. I think I could do a lot better on them, but it's work in progress, and I'm just being really honest with you with this channel. I'm having a problem with the YouTube thumbnails at the moment. I can't seem to find one without having to pay, which I know is a bit of a cheapskate, but I have no money to pay, so I'm trying to think of other options. So YouTube is great for just sharing things like this, and I hope that you're enjoying these videos. Tomorrow I'm hoping to do at least 2 bushcraft projects before I go home. Yeah, that's it really. It's funny, today I had a long conversation with 2 ladies. They were just started talking to me, and I chatted to them for a bit, and it's like the idea of a bloke going out in the woods on their own is so foreign to people in today's society, and they were really intrigued by it. And obviously I didn't big myself up at all, and probably thinking, yeah right, I really didn't. That's to my girlfriend if she ever watches this. No, I really didn't. And I showed them I've got my phone, I'm going to watch some from the internet. Is that not defeating the point? No, not really, because I'm not claiming to be in the woods in the middle of nowhere. And plus, I want to be able to call for help if I need help. There's a point where you can take things too far, but I also think we live in a society which is far too comfortable in abundance. And while I think God created the world for abundance and prosperity, I really do believe that with the book especially I've just read, which I'm going to do a review on. But I also feel like we need to accept and learn also about hardships and how we had to live. There's millions of people going back into our ancestors who lived through the harshest of times, and I can't thank those human beings enough, because we wouldn't be here if it weren't for those hard, strong souls who are our ancestors, and the skills that they learnt and the techniques that they knew and the wisdom that they had and the perseverance and tenacity to live and survive through the hardest times. Incredible. And I think it's very much worth discussing this in a video like this. Respect our ancestors, because we are very weak compared to them. Tell you what, you got a fair fancy yourself doing all these videos. You got a fair fancy yourself, I reckon. Are we all a little bit narcissistic, those people who wish to do videos like this? So I'm listening to the fire. I've put loads of wood on, got a bit of a burn going, got a bit of a warm. Got my nice light above me head, which I was going to use for reading. Don't know what that mark on my head is there. Don't know what that is. But basically I'm going to try and get full, long, complete recovery, or long night's sleep now. I can't see where my camera is. If you think I'm looking at myself, it's just I can't see where my camera is. I've done a lot of talking, as I would have always probably ended up doing anyway. But it's been a lovely experience for the third time for Bushcraft 003. Tomorrow I'm trying to do a couple of projects, and then I'm going to pack up and do a fast walk home. Unless the butty shop calls me again, which is very possible. Love you all, and I'll see you in the morning. So it's a good morning, guys and girls. I have had a very good night's sleep, but I still am not very confident about the hammock. I just find it very, to be quite honest with you, sometimes I find it very uncomfortable. Getting in and out, I can really understand why people use those quilt sort of half sleeping bags now, because the amount of effort it takes to get into the underquilt, the inner sleeping bag, which I'll show you, which was really good and comfortable, by the way, by Snugpack. And then the sleeping bag, it just takes so much effort to get into it, and then when you need a wee, it's like, oh god, I have to get out again. It takes a lot of effort trying to get into the sleeping bag with the back bit underneath you, trying to get that underneath you and then zip it up to the top. So don't know, I need to keep working. So I'm going to try it a bit more. Otherwise I'm going to invest in a really good sleeping mat and start using that with some different shelter setups. And that's it. So today I'm going to try and do some bushcraft stuff soon. I'm enjoying the morning song, the birds singing, and that's it. I'm going to crack on with some jobs or some bushcraft projects now. I was very snug in my sleeping bag last night, but it started to rain, so I wanted to try and get some rainwater for the morning. So I used this device, which is in one of the survival books, which captures the water and drops it into a cup. I created a little V so it would drop in there nice and accurately with a stone to bring it down when the water catches it, dribbles down into the cup, which is not big enough. And also it didn't rain hard enough, and it was done quickly underneath. I mean, it was coming down quite quickly, quite hard, shall I say, on the top, and I tried to look at making the top, but it was into a catch. But it's not easy to set it up, or that easy to set up when it's in that config. So that's another project I've done from a book, which looks good and would have worked good if it had have rained bad. So I'm going to try to specifically light the fire using a match, as it is shown in Dan Warwick's Bushcraft Kid book. And then if that doesn't work, I'm going to go back to his or the idea of cotton starter firebuds and try to make that work better than it did last night. I've got my fire starter kit in here, which basically consists of a very big candle, the matches, emergency matches, some nice chunks of fat wood, a fire starter rod, ferrocene rod, and a nice sharp match stick cutting knife, which I bought from the United Kingdom, B&Q, because it's a really nice and sharp, probably not a very good knife in reality. And then lastly, just in case I lose my lighter in my pocket, with some cordage designed to burn like a wick, which essentially is a candle wick. What I'm going to do now is use these and hopefully just do a long strike, get the wood burning, hopefully. You ready? See, that is what I mean. You try it, it doesn't work. In Lofty Wiseman's book, it says whenever you light a match, light your candle so you've got that flame instantly. So if that doesn't work, your candle light, your candle flame is there to use, which lasts longer. That didn't work. It caught a little bit, but we need to do a modification. I'm going to try to stick with that, but that was too much for the match. So in Lofty Wiseman's book, he shows a picture of using a match. Now, I'm going to try it now. I'll put the thinner ones on this side where the match is going to go underneath and catch the faggots, whatever they're called, very thin sized sticks. And I've tried the emergency matches one more time or two more times, but bear in mind that they are extremely precious in a survival situation, and if it's not working, you need to adjust urgently to get that fire and go and check the size of them. This morning I purposefully collected very small ones with this idea, but I forgot to put the larger ones on the outside, which is why it didn't catch that first time. Hopefully that is the idea. This is ideal weather for this, so if you struggle to get a fire going in this weather, you are going to get it going in wind and rain. And that's another reason why you don't just trust your box. The match is broke. Oh. And just like that, the second one's gone. Can't rescue that. I'm going to try one more, guys, but just know in a survival situation I would be not doing it again like this. I would probably go and get a lot more thinner ones. This time I'm going to probably succeed, I hope. Just drop the match on the floor, but it's ashy, so I know that's fine. Alright, let's try again. Wow. It's not even working this time. So it looks like it with 3 matches for you guys at home. It took me 3 matches, and in the end I just stuck it in the middle rather than trying to go underneath. Now that's a fairly certain fire that I've got going there. We just start feeding these slightly thicker finger size ones on. They'll catch and they'll have some embers. So I've got 3 matches in, and I've got the fire going. Bear in mind, it's perfect weather, it's perfect conditions. So if you can't get a fire in this weather, you can forget about getting a fire in an emergency situation where the wind is really heavy or the rain is lashing it down. But that is a nice fire. I used Dan Warwick's backstop, and I used Raymond Mears faggots, or used one faggot, very thin bunch of sticks, and I've got a fire going. There we go, 3 matches in. Hello everybody, hope you're still watching this. It's going to be a long video. So basically I'm making a mallet. I've cut the mallet into the specifications roughly of this book. I'm cutting across, or I've cut across the middle roughly to create what is called a stop cut. And now I'm going to basically baton the handle out. That's the plan anyway. So the other stick you saw me cut initially was for batoning. So I'm not going to lie to you, that has taken me ages, and I'm a bit disappointed, both in myself and in the fact some YouTubers out there seem to think that they can make something seem very easy, but they're clearly, in my opinion, cheating and putting something in a video they've already done just to save time. This is what I was working towards building. It's a mallet, a club that is in a lot of survival, bushcraft books rather than survival. In reality, you're not going to make this in a survival situation unless you end up somehow in a long term, and it's not. I'm really not happy with it, but in all honesty, it's taken like it's coming on nearly 3 hours to just make, to F about, trying to make a central handle. I haven't shaved it off around the sides and I haven't rounded it off yet. And I haven't finished the handle. In all honesty, I could make it a lot nicer than that. It's just taking me that long to just make it more grippable, get it so I can grip it. And a bit disappointed really. I think I've learned a lot doing it. I've picked the wrong piece of wood with too many knots in it, which I knew about, but I didn't notice them when I chopped it down. And by the time I started, I thought, hell to hell with it, let's carry on. So it's been good fun. I'm gonna finish it, maybe take it home and finish it, something to log home. I've got the handle neutral, so I've done that, and I've used my saw, but you're not going to make this with a penknife. There's a YouTuber who I highly respect who's put this on, that he's made one of these with a penknife, and you're not making this out of a penknife. And wedges made of wood, I don't know, I've never really used them, but I've been using a saw, a machete and a pig army knife to do this, and it's still taking me 3 hours. Now, yep, granted, I'm totally inexperienced. So yeah, I take that into I add that into the equation. Of course I do. But yeah, I don't think that everyone's been quite honest on YouTube with these bushcraft videos. But anyway, I've enjoyed doing that. It has taken me hours. I've not put you in the process or done many videos of me making it, just because this video is already going to be mammothly long. But you basically would use this to hit big posts in the ground, or your tent pegs, just general duties. But yeah, I've done it. I've made a bushcraft thing from a project, but this isn't in any particular book. It's just in quite a few bushcraft, David Canterbury's books. So I'm going to wrap the day up. I want to get home. I'm obviously back at work tomorrow, so I want to get home, and I'm going to pack up and do an hour and a half walk home. That's the plan. So I want a bit of chill time, because this has not been chilling. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed Bushcraft 003. And I've got not much else to say really. I've learned a lot, as you always do, but the lessons are very, very, very small increments. It's like everything, we expect things to be learned quickly, and you get into routines on those tiny little increments of advancement in anything. This is definitely an extremely incremental hobby, pursuit, craft, extremely incremental. So thank you for your time, thank you for watching this video, and I will see you on the next one, or the next bushcraft. No, sorry, the next book review. Although I'm not reading too quickly or too much at the minute. Anyway, see you later.